So, I recently went on holiday for the first time in 6 years with my Yankee wife, and we went to the motherland. And it was nice. People were nice. No one asked to see my walking about license. Didn't see any riots. It was genuinely, actually very pleasant. And I got the first good night's sleep I've had in years because I didn't have to wrestle an 80-pound dog off my pillow or face. But still, here's the moan. Piss.
Oh God, I hate this.
Oh look, it's going everywhere.
The first notable thing was in Atlanta airport, where I saw a woman and child deliberately leave a backpack by a support column in the food court beyond security. 2 or 3 minutes later, as I wondered how much of the blast my torso could absorb, someone else quickly walked past and picked up the bag. Had I witnessed a drug deal? Had the cameras spotted it? Was I going to miss my flight as I tracked down some staff member to tell them that there was a man with a bag? A bald man, I think. And would this accusation also lead to airport staff discovering all those rhino horns up my arse? Thankfully, the general feeling of indifference is international. When we boarded the flight to Heathrow, staff didn't check our boarding documents, they simply scanned our faces. They were trying it out, they said. And I was genuinely impressed with how well it worked, because I saw the photo that they took of me and I walked through and it was me going... And it still worked. And I realised that the old adage of people will accept invasive surveillance in return for a bit of security is wrong. He would accept it for a bit of convenience. I think I would, to get through the airport. I'd let them read my emails and map my genome and maybe have a bit of a fiddle, just to get through quickly, as long as they wore gloves, for all of it. So yes, Britain, where to start? General impressions. The food you get from the supermarket is of far better quality in the UK, and is generally much cheaper. Even in Britain I was taught that British food is shit, but I've got news for you Americans, it's not that shit. The sort of bread that is just normal fibrous bread in the UK is the luxury pay not to get cancer $8 loaf in the USA. This pattern is repeated across the grocery board, from pickled eggs to tinned eggs, whereas everything else, compared to at least Kentucky, was much more expensive. Who knew? For example, the cheapest train ticket to and from London to Sheffield, Sheffield being where I was unfortunately born, was about £80, super duper never user off-peak in the middle of the week only. The ambivalent man behind the counter told me not to bother getting tickets online anymore, even though a decade ago I did this 8 times a month. Now, the purveyors are all unofficial resellers based in India or Bangladesh, and could not be trusted to actually send you the correct ticket, he said. Not bothered by that, I was more put off by their discounts being only about 20%. So, I went on the bus. Much cheaper, it did smell like piss though. The London Underground was just as packed, dirty, derelict of staff, and a bit more expensive than when I was last there, which I'd say is a net win for London. But still, thank you Jesus. In Sheffield, the price of houses may be out of control, but a pint of Ruddles is still only £1.80 on Mondays at Spoons. Being the romantic that I am, the first place that I took my lucky wife was the Devil's Arse in Derbyshire. It's a big natural cave that was also used as a lead mine and other things. The last group to live there were rope makers, our tour guide informed us, who were allowed to live inside the cave, with their 70 pigs, for free, by the owner of the cave and indeed all mineral rights in Derbyshire, the Duke of Devonshire. Somewhat confusing, as Devonshire is nowhere near Derbyshire. So I thought to myself, well, I know where the Duke of Devonshire lives, so I popped around as I thought I might have a word, but he wasn't in. Chatsworth House has belonged to the Cavendish family since 1549, and they retain control of it today via a trust, so I wasn't surprised when they wanted 35 quid per person to get in. But I was annoyed that as I was paying, they then asked if I'd like to give a donation. And what also annoys me, and this happened multiple times, is when someone asks for a donation when you're already paying, I would say no, and then the person behind the counter would go, fine, that's absolutely fine, yep, absolutely fine. Yeah, I know it's fine. Aside from the nauseating greed that I enjoyed seeing, especially of the paintings of Jesus looking over gold leaf reliefs and priceless, useless vases, and angels getting kicked in the nuts, the thing that stood out the most was how much they wanted donations. Oh, this farmyard doesn't pay for itself. Oh, these statues of Anubis that we found need restoring. Oh, this old water feature that caused erosion, pay us to turn it back on. That was, of course, until I came across this lovely painting here of the family that the 4th Duke of Devonshire married into. Interestingly, the accompanying plaque says, "We know less about the 3rd child, who will have had a different experience growing up. His identity is uncertain, and we do not know how he came to be in the Boyle household." Yeah, I guess he might have just turned up. In fact, we do know how he got there. We know a lot about the Cavendishes and the rest of British aristocracy profiting immensely from the transatlantic slave trade, and of course, never mind the people up the road living in the caves. But the Cavendishes today have it pretty good. They can just shrug it off and say, "We'll give loads to charity, and it was a long time ago, so we'll just keep the money." Although my favourite painting of a Cavendish is this one, the 2nd Duke of Devonshire and Aluhi Yale, the prime benefactor of Yale University, with Jimmy Cavendish and Watch This Shit Turnbull and Enslaved Servant. Anyway, there was almost nothing about how the Foci Palace's existence is a product of exploitation, except what was grimly alluded to in this plaque. So, having made a scene at Chatsworth House where everyone clapped and one man even went off to knit up a tapestry of my great speech, I realised I had to go to the Duke's boss. God. 11th century English God. I went to Lincoln Cathedral, and even though it was £12 just to get in, I didn't get to meet God, although I did get to meet Jesus. It was pretty interesting, not £12 interesting, but while we were there a member of the clergy noticed my wife's accent and asked about the border wall and if it had been built, and why Texas hadn't seceded. I kid you not. So we got into an unwanted conversation about illegal immigration, and Christina explained that a lot of illegal immigrants don't actually jump the border, they enter legally and illegally stay, and the clergyman agreed but said, "Not the Chinese." The Chinese, it turns out, have cleverly sailed vast hordes to Mexico, where they briefly regroup for enchiladas and sangria before, well versed in the quirks and weak points of walls, storming the great barriers along the Texan border, quite possibly in their tens or hundreds of millions. At least, the cassocked man said, that's what the videos he had been watching on YouTube were saying. He also went on about how people come over here and don't integrate, and I don't even know where to start with that. We had to back away from him to get him to stop talking, and for me, this was the highlight of the trip, just ahead of seeing all of my relatives and all of that. While on the bus to or from London, to watch the pilot of the Only Fools and Horses American remake from 2011, and nothing else, I also noticed this sign. Very observant I am. In Britain, it seems that there is no shortage of sanctimonious signs like this, more than I remember. But this one in particular, there's something about it. Like, what is the message? Don't block the toilet or don't flood Venice. Both of these are important, but the muddling of them sort of loses me here. Also, there were lots of adverts for reporting sexual harassment, including intense staring, or anything weird at all. Delivered in the most British, quaint way.
Text the British Transport Police on 61016. We'll sort it. See it, say it, sorted.
By texting this number. And not unlike America or I suppose anywhere else, everywhere you go there are labels and statements of green credentials, recycling bins that mix up things in such a way I know it's going into landfill. Gimmicks and bullshit veiling industry and commerce as usual, with general smugness and official and corporate messaging. Again, I don't think this is unique to the UK, but it was interesting to see again with British rather than American exceptionalism. What else can I whinge about? Oh, if your husband went to Tufnell Green Tube Station, an Indian restaurant near there, on the 10th of August at 8 PM, he had his hair freshly cut, he went in his gym clothes with a colleague. I think they work in some sort of event planning or management. He's gonna cheat on you. One time or another, if he hasn't already. Absolute cretin, dump him. The lady he was with, massive bell end. Alright? What else? Didn't see any riots. People were very nice. Do you know what it's like to walk into a bar and feel a general air of welcome and safety? Boring. All very boring, all very civilized. Not like here. It's like the wild fucking West. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time. It was nice. It was nice. I woke up this morning to gunshots. Didn't even think about it. Oh, I've missed you, America.
Bye, America.